Tonight, thousands of federal employees prepare for layoffs.
Everyone's very stressed.
How thieves are stealing valuable sports cards right in front of collectors' eyes. And Sask Health Center management wants a shot at running Saskatoon's proposed downtown event center.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, January 26th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. In the past week, more than 10,000 federal employees have been officially informed their jobs may be on the line. It's all part of the Carney government's plan to cut the number of workers by 10% over the next 4 years. Marina von Stackelberg shows us the fear in a civil service that's about to shrink drastically.
With thousands of jobs on the line, many public servants are now finding out if they'll soon be out of work.
Everyone's very stressed, a bit depressed.
And they're scared to talk about it. CBC News is keeping this employee anonymous and changing her voice over her fear speaking publicly could get her fired.
Our whole office has been told we might be affected, and they're waiting to let us know based on how much of our job they can replace with AI.
The letter she got says new technologies, including artificial intelligence, present us with opportunities to streamline. Consequently, you have been identified as an affected employee. The Carney government is making good on its promise to thin the bureaucracy, sending out workforce adjustment notices, meaning workers could face reassignment or layoff. Staff at Global Affairs and Health Canada are the latest to get them.
Right now, we don't know which department will be hit next and what services will be cut.
You cannot cut public service science and health departments and their staff without increasing public risk.
Unions say Canadians will feel the impact. The government says the opposite.
The services will be as good and better as we move forward with a bold agenda to transform government using new technologies.
This former senior bureaucrat says the public service has grown faster than it should have.
The result is a public service that's too big, doesn't work as efficiently as it should, and frankly, there's often too many people doing too many different things that don't need to be done.
The federal government says it's doing what it can to limit layoffs. That includes offering buyout packages for early retirement. But the unions liken this to the Hunger Games, with coworkers who sat beside each other now battling it out for a job. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
And those federal cuts appear to be already happening in this province. Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada says it's closing 7 research operations, including 2 in Saskatchewan, all part of the federal government's trimming of the public service. AAFC has confirmed to CBC News that its satellite research farms near the communities of Scott and Indian Head will close as a result of the cuts, but the process to shut them down could take up to a year. AAFC was not able to immediately confirm how many workers at the 2 sites would be affected. Just over 1,000 employees across the federal department were told Friday their jobs are being eliminated. Some Canadians will be getting help in covering the high cost of groceries. Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced an increase to the GST credit aimed at lower-income Canadians. Carney says this initiative delivers on a promise he made to Canadians when he was elected.
We were very clear when we ran in the last election what we intended to do. Very clear, very detailed platform, and we are delivering on that. We invite Parliament to support us in it.
In July, the federal government will give those eligible for the credit a one-time 50% top-up payment. That means a family of 4 will receive almost $1,900 this year. They'll also receive a 25% GST credit increase in each of the next 4 years. The government says the GST credit will help as many as 12 million Canadians. The Liberal government says the increase will cost $3.1 billion in the first year alone. A new Netflix series is in the works, and it is hitting close to home here in Saskatchewan. It revolves around a hockey team bus crash, And as Aishwarya Duda reports, some people say it has striking similarities to the 2018 Humboldt Broncos crash.
Definitely a bit of a gut punch today, if you will.
The plot feels painfully familiar to Scott Thomas, a small working-class hockey community, a team bus crash, players and a coach killed. Thomas's son Evan was one of the 16 people who died in the Humboldt Broncos crash. Netflix has not said the upcoming series is inspired by the 2018 tragedy, but even without a trailer or a release date, the similarities alone are raising questions.
Just from what you can see online, they're trying to make some triumph out of tragedy, which for me, I'll never be able to find triumph in this tragedy.
While Thomas says he doesn't feel like he or any other Bronco family are owed any consultation, it would have been nice to have a conversation with the movie makers. In the series, the coach's widow steps in to coach the new team, but that's not what happened in Humboldt.
This is going to be some rising from the phoenix rising from the ashes story, and that's just not my reality. This is a tragedy that I continue to live every day. I'm mourning the loss of my son every day.
Online, some people are calling the show gross and profiteering. A cultural commentator says the reaction makes sense because the story hits too close to home.
Just the horrible tragedy like that. I mean, the fact that it's literally tied into, hockey players, they didn't change the sport or something. It's, I think those two factors right there are a fairly major indication.
In a statement, Netflix said that the show is fictional and not inspired by any real-life events. Aishwarya Duda, CBC News, Saskatoon.
RCMP have arrested a man who was wanted after a forest rescue near Prince Albert. Earlier this month, we told you Mounties used drones and the K9 unit to save a man and a woman who were lost in the woods. Police say they became lost after a man took them into a forested area and shot at them. 30-year-old Justin Charles is now facing several charges. That includes recklessly firing a gun and negligence causing bodily harm. The opposition NDP is continuing to call attention to safety incidents in the province's hospitals, with a 2024 report from the Ministry of Health showing over 300 critical incidents happening in the last 2 years. The NDP says violence in hospitals doubled in the same period. A provincial auditor's report from 2024 also says little to no action was taken on 17 of 20 reported safety incidents. The NDP says the government's newly announced third-party review of hospital security means nothing without proper action.
This review that was just announced, what's more, had no timelines, no scope, no plan to consult with actual people working and dealing with constant safety issues on the front lines in our hospitals. This was a reactive photo op to quell another crisis.
Conway says the auditor's report had recommendations for pat-downs and metal detectors in hospitals. The health minister says the NDP continues to put down the healthcare system without offering solutions. Saskatoon still needs to secure funding to build a new downtown arena district, but a split has emerged over how to operate it. Phil Tank has that story.
The debate over new arena in downtown Saskatoon has been raging for a decade. City Council has chosen this parking lot north of TCU Place as a possible site. Now Council must decide how to operate the proposed arena district. City Hall supports a private operator, but management of city-owned SaskTel Center thinks it can do the job. Key leaders at the venue spoke at a business luncheon downtown last week.
We do so much with what we've got and we're so creative on things. If we had a brand new shiny facility that had all, the modern amenities, not NHL standard, just modern amenities, we'd actually absolutely kill it.
But getting to a shiny new facility is taking some time. City Hall is talking with Denver-based OVG about running the district. OVG already runs hundreds of venues in North America. Representatives are expected to appear before City Council in March.
I'm excited to hear this conversation happening and have hospitality at the forefront of the conversation, and it was wonderful to hear from the SaskTel team today about the excellence that they provide in this city, and they're not wrong. They help us punch above our weight over and over and over again.
The district would include an updated and expanded TCU Place, in all coming in around $1.2 billion. A private operator would contribute millions to the construction of the district, but it would also take a cut of profits.
And they have lots of strengths and value. But I think you heard today, and I think I would echo it, there's a ton of strength in the local market. These two buildings, if you just want to reduce it to that, they've run themselves very well for the last 60 years and 40 years. And again, like I said, we just finished our best year, I think, in history at TCU Place.
Private or public? Homegrown or outsiders? A key decision on a downtown arena district looms. Phil Tank, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon Cycle's Ice Cycle event took place in the frigid cold this weekend, encouraging people to give winter biking a try while getting some tips from professionals. It'll be at least a little warmer for those cyclists this week, though. Weather specialist Mickey Wolf has the details in her forecast after the break. A sports card show in Saskatoon is drawing big crowds and a long waiting list of potential sellers, but it's also attracting brazen thefts. Kelly Provo explains.
7, 10, 13, 15.
The buying, selling, and trading of sports cards and Pokemon cards is big business. Saskatoon has at least 3 separate shows of various sizes, including this show held every few months in a church hall. But another show, held every month in a mall, has gotten so popular it's attracting thieves. Earlier this month, someone stole Pokemon cards at 2 tables.
And so he would put his binder down on top of those cards. And when he was done looking at other cards, he would pick it up at the same time grabbing some cards underneath his binder.
About 2 years ago, cards were stolen at multiple tables. The first time organizers learned about widespread thefts. Then about a year ago, an expensive Tom Brady rookie card was stolen. Organizers say it was the work of 2 thieves working in tandem.
Having one person call you over to the other side of the table, and then their partner would take cards that are unguarded, I guess, from the far end of the tables.
But you're looking out for each other. So I've heard of situations where if someone notices that a card was picked or slipped or whatever, guys will be quick to get on the phone and text a group chat and say, hey, I'm missing this card. If you see it, let me know. And I've heard of where somebody shows up at a different table at the same show, which is pretty dumb, but trying to sell the same card. And then he's like, actually, hold on. Let me just see this card. He takes it and holds on to it, and security comes in.
The Saskatoon show draws up to 1,000 people to the mall, and despite the thefts, 40 to 50 people wanting to sell their cards there are on a waiting list. Kelly Provo, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The recent cold snap is drawing attention to the need for shelter spaces in the province, and some on the front lines are demanding more support. They're calling for a long-term strategy to get people off the streets. One woman who helps serve food and give clothing to those in need gave an account as to why that's important during extreme cold.
The exposure-related injuries we're seeing now to people's hands alone tell you the story. I've seen black gangrene on people's fingers. They're obviously going to lose them. And there are numerous people here who suffer amputations and escalate our healthcare costs simply because we're making political choices not to find housing for these people.
CARD is calling on more action from the Sask Party government to make sure people get shelter during extreme cold. And weather specialist Mickey Wolf joins us now. Mickey, the brunt of the extreme cold seems to be over, but still pretty chilly out there.
It's still very chilly, Ethan. I would agree with you 100% on that front. We've been seeing even just some slight gusting across the province, really affecting those temperatures in a pretty significant way. Let's take a look at some of the active watches and warnings right now we've got going on across Saskatchewan. We're seeing yellow level cold warnings here, parts of the southeast, a little bit in the central region, and then up in the far north for Stony Rapids. So we're seeing those temperatures with wind chill factors near -40 for that south and central part of the province affected. And then for Stony Rapids overnight tonight, we're expecting wind chill in excess of -45. So we've still got that cold here and there in pockets across the province. It's not exactly warm in other areas either, and we're definitely seeing that reflected here with those winds gusting a little bit over 50 kilometers an hour for that southeast corner tonight. These are our daytime highs today, but it certainly didn't feel as warm as minus 16 or minus 12 for folks in Regina and Saskatoon. The wind chill factors were definitely making things feel closer to minus 30, though our skies are thankfully looking fairly clear tonight. We're not seeing any snow as of yet, at least for the early part this week. We've got some nice clear skies, a little bit of mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, but mostly clear skies. And then as we get into Wednesday, we might see a little bit more cloud cover across the province and a little bit of light snowfall, but so far nothing too significant. Now we can see the temperatures across North America as we get into the week here. Lots of folks experiencing some cold snaps, especially in Canada. Over in Thunder Bay area, we've got some really cold temperatures there. And taking a look at tomorrow morning for our province, zooming back into Saskatchewan, we are seeing that wind chill still really brutal for Estevan, Saskatoon, and then Stony Rapids. Again, we're seeing minus 40, but might feel a little bit chillier there. But as we look ahead to our week, we are seeing a warm up here, folks. You're seeing that right. We've got a high of 0 for Saturday in Regina. Hopefully that sticks around. We've got warmer temperatures coming. We've just got to get through this week, but you know, we're seeing that gradual warm up, and you can see that reflected here for Saskatoon as well. Friday and Saturday, we might see a little bit of snow Saturday, but nothing over a centimeter. And we've got those warmer temperatures to look forward to, Ethan. So I'm excited. I don't think I'll be getting out the shorts quite yet, but definitely a lighter jacket potentially.
Will be finally nice to wear one of those. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
Well, accessible seating at concerts and sporting events is supposed to make them more inclusive, but one BC man says it doesn't always work out that way. Erica Johnson reports.
How often is it sold out?
More and more often.
For Bob Koss, trying to buy accessible seating tickets for a hockey game at Vancouver's Rogers Arena is often frustrating. His son Michael suffered a severe brain injury after a car accident 20 years ago. He says an occasional hockey game or concert would bring joy.
I like to enjoy the small, simple things like a hockey game.
Problem is, they say, Ticketmaster uses an honor system online, so anyone willing to fib can buy tickets to accessible seating. Designed for people to maneuver mobility devices, there's plenty of legroom and chairs that friends and attendants can pull up. But Bob says sometimes people sit there who shouldn't, like two men he overheard at a hockey game he did manage to get tickets to.
They were bragging about being able to buy these tickets even though they had no disability. I was so frustrated to hear those comments.
He acknowledges some people may have invisible disabilities or be accompanying someone. That may have been the case when we attended a concert and saw only 2 wheelchairs out of 30 seats, most people walking in and out, some dancing.
And we have to show this.
Bob points out you need a disability pass for parking. He says similarly, Rogers Arena should require people to prove they need those seats.
Why can they not introduce some sort of a system?
In the UK, thousands of venues and events do use a verification system. But the owners of Rogers Arena said the venue respects fans' privacy and some disabilities may be invisible.
It sounds like they're trying to use disability inclusion language against people with disabilities in order to defend their complete inaction.
Legally, he says, venues that want to ensure accessibility can ask fans to provide proof, but can't ask for details. Ticketmaster also says it wants to preserve fans' privacy.
Ticketmaster abides by that verification system in the UK, but told Go Public in Canada it would be too difficult to implement. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Back 14 right here. Ooh, struggling for speed. Yes, here's where he fell in run 2. Hold your breath, Aspen.
Saskatchewan snowboarding superstar Mark McMorris has done it again, capturing gold in the men's snowboard slopestyle at the Winter X Games in Aspen, Colorado. And this is not just any medal, it's the 25th in McMorris's X Games career, and the 12th gold he's captured at the Games. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Well, you may be familiar with the TV series Battlebots. It's a show where people build remote-controlled machines and then duke them out with other bots in an arena. Well, in Saskatoon this weekend, that series became reality for some Battlebot enthusiasts. They competed in their own Battlebots tournament. It was hosted by FingerTech Robotics, with participants even building and tweaking their own creations right in the store. One of the organizers says it's a great event for everyone to try out.
We're just hoping that everyone is having lots of fun. We have people seeing how everyone is excited about what they get to see and what we do, because it's really an unknown sport. So it's fun to talk about it and see how it can be fun for people that are not necessarily into regular sports, but something more intellectual.
Warner says kids are intrigued by seeing the destruction and sparks flying on the bots. The group also hosts workshops for kids outside of this tournament. Looks like a lot of fun. Mickey Wolf now back with one last look at our forecast, and looks like we're seeing a slight improvement maybe when it comes to the wind.
I think we are seeing an improvement, Ethan. I'm going to say a pretty moderate to good improvement wind-wise. Let's take a look at our overnight forecast for the province tonight. It looks a bit warmer than it is here, folks. We are going to see, with wind chill factor, temperatures closer to -35 and -40 for south and central Saskatchewan. It's much of the same in the north. We're expecting wind chill down to -38 for the Churchill region tonight, and then in the far north, anywhere from -40 to -45 and beyond for Uranium City. Tomorrow we will see a bit of a warm up in the north, and those sunny skies, you know, when it's sunny out, it tends to make things feel a little bit warmer, at least to me, until the wind's blowing, you know, pretty hard and things start to feel cold as we move into the afternoon hours in south and central Saskatchewan. We will see a considerable warm up, especially for that southwest corner. It's going to be quite a bit of a warmer day there. So Ethan, again, it's a good day for sunglasses. It's a good day to maybe start thinking about warmer layers, or colder layers rather.
Yeah, we can finally shed some of those for sure. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
And that is our news for this Monday. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. And you can also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.